Dr. Julie Sargent with Sargent Wellness Physical Therapy. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, and I opened my cash-based practice in 2014. I've been a solo practitioner up until May of last year, where I hired a part-time assistant. I started full-time dedicated to my practice in late 2015. So up until then, I was having a second job to kind of supplement income. Why I started with Aaron, I had been kind of toying with the idea of getting a business coach, and I even reached out to a couple in my community, didn't hear back from one. Aaron and a couple other guys are people that I had followed just as guidance in developing the CashPT model and just reading their blogs and articles over the years. So naturally, I think I received an email from Aaron about doing like an onboarding call. So we had that, and it was just really perfect timing because my business is unique in that I opened and didn't do a lot of things that one would do maybe before they opened. Didn't have a website, didn't have a mission and core values and just kind of the intricacies. It's just like I started seeing patients, and I was lucky in that word of mouth and things spread, and I was kind of put in positions with meeting the right people to where I was in a position, starting with Aaron, I guess it was December 29th or something like that, where I had a pretty full schedule where I'd book out a week or two, so that wasn't so much of an issue. It was just like, what's the next step for me? How do I grow to that next level? How do I feel comfortable? I have a 1.5-year-old, my husband and I do, and how do I feel comfortable to have a second and be able to take a maternity leave and not worry that my business is going to crumble or that it's not going to be profitable. So starting with him, I think one of the biggest goals was to get systems in place, be able to hire a full-time office manager, and then kind of start to develop other streams of revenue. So the biggest things that I've done since starting with him were basically change every system that I was using up front. So when I started in 2014, and just since then up until Aaron, I had used an EMR Web PT, I'd used MindBody, and I was with them up until January or so. So I had MindBody, and I was actually using their integrative EMR system, which turned out to be a total disaster. So since January, my assistant has copied and pasted almost 500 notes into Google Drive so that we had all of those documents, because they don't have a way for you to extract notes, which now I know to ask that when I sign up for a new EMR system. But anyhow, so did that, switched over from MindBody to using Google Drive or G Suite for all documentation and forms and that sort of thing. Switched over to IntakeQ for intake forms and scheduling. And then as of last week, started using GoCard, which is the new merchant processor. Also implemented and used the hiring system, our automated hiring system, and my new office manager starts on Monday. And my current office manager assistant is going to transition to another position. So all of that was really with Aaron's guidance. It saved me a lot of time. I mean, I couldn't tell you how much that was worth. Seeing a full schedule of patients, and then trying to navigate through what was initially 80 emails from Indeed from a job posting, and sifting through the resumes and that sort of thing. The hiring automation helped a lot, and it also kind of forced me to create my story of how my business started, and core values and mission, and all of these kind of components that I knew were inside of me, but never really committed to getting them on paper. So that was really huge for me. Also created an official employee handbook, so training lists. So those were the biggest things I think that I guess, tangible system changes and goals I had accomplished. Since starting with Aaron also, I've added quite a bit to my to-do list, but good things. So kind of opened opportunities and thoughts or affirmed thoughts and ideas that I've had that I thought, oh, well, is this going to work? And Aaron's great at giving feedback, getting back to me really quickly, sharing anything he has to help, and just affirming that, like, yes, this is a good idea, this is going to work, or this is how you should do this, or this is how I would do it. And sometimes that's kind of all we need, I think, is in my town, I'm one of the only CashPTs that's doing something like this. So, and I get guidance from some peers, but really you need kind of a group of therapists that are doing the same thing that you're doing, and a coach. I mean, it's paid off in more ways than I could say, personally and professionally. Let's see. What were the other questions?
Well, so where we got where you are, we got where you are now. Like, what's the biggest change that you've made? I mean, I can tell you that it took me 6 months to hire my first person, and you just did it in 7 weeks or something. Well, you know how your first person, but use that, create all that stuff that you just told us. Like, what's the biggest change or the biggest difference that you've made personally or professionally in the last 2.5 months?
Professionally, I think just feeling like it's not just my sole practice with my assistant, who is really a contracted assistant. Now I feel like I'm becoming a real company, or a practice, I like to call it, and it's more official. That's what I feel like is the biggest thing, having just the manual in place, and just feeling like there's more to the practice than just me. Mm-hmm. And then having a gateway or step-by-step that could potentially be provided for other avenues of revenue that I want to pursue, and knowing that, and just being kind of rejuvenated and excited about doing that. Personally, confidence is a big thing that I'm still struggling with and working on. I think being in this group this weekend has really helped. We all have a lot of the same troubles, and we might communicate them a little differently, but I think that all in all, it's like, talking about changing our rates, or charging what we're worth, or should I develop this program, or should I go in this direction? And a lot of that kind of comes back to, I think, at least one, worrying about what people think. And I think that consumes me personally quite a bit and limits me. And I think this journey, not only the last 3 months, but I look forward to the next 9 months and being able to just kind of shut that down quite a bit, and like maybe shut it off for the most part. And it's interesting because on my way out traveling, my husband handed me the last lecture, and I don't know if anyone's read it, but it's a phenomenal book, and it's just got a lot of take-home lessons. And it was actually last night I read, and it was just like, okay, is this a sign? But there's a quote in here, and it's, if nobody ever worried about what was in other people's heads, we'd all be 33% more effective in our lives and in our jobs. And I thought, okay, that number speaks to me, because then it's like, we have these arbitrary thoughts of our story kind of seeping through, but I want to be productive every minute of the day, and whether that's, when I'm spending time with my family or when I'm spending time on my practice, I know that a lot of that is filled in with wasted time or wasted energy thinking about or worrying about what other people think. And so seeing that quote and that 33% more effective, well, that speaks to my type A quite a lot, because I'm like, well, no, I can achieve this many more things on my to-do list if I just shut that down and shut it off. So more than just professionally, I think just working with the Elite Mastermind group and having Aaron's support and guidance is gonna just pay off so much more than just in from the business side of things. So I'm really thankful, and I'm really anxious and looking forward to what's to come.